One of the biggest pains in life is comparing yourself to others. We often look at someone and think, why is she so successful and I'm not? But we rarely try to understand something important. Her path and my path are not the same. Think about this for a moment. If a fish tries to fly like a bird, it will spend its entire life believing it is not good enough, even though that same fish could swim across the entire ocean. These days, because of social media, this habit of comparing ourselves has become even worse. We see someone else's success and suddenly feel like our own life is small. We forget our own talents. We forget our own journey. And slowly, this way of thinking pushes people into sadness and hopelessness. That is why today's story is for anyone who has ever felt, I will never be as good as them. Listen carefully, because every line in this story might change the way you see yourself. Once, there was a small village near a town. Beside that village was a big and beautiful forest. In that village lived a boy named Ethan. Ethan was hardworking and kind, but there was one habit that made him unhappy all the time. He always compared himself with others. When he saw his friend Liam getting the best grades in class, Ethan would think, I wish I was as smart as him. His neighbor Ryan was very rich. Whenever Ethan saw Ryan, he would think, I wish I had money like him. Even when he saw someone running fast, he would think, why can't I run that fast? These thoughts slowly made Ethan more and more unhappy. He couldn't focus on his studies. He didn't enjoy doing anything. All the time, one thought stayed in his mind. I will never be like them. One day, a wise old man visited the village. Everyone called him Grandpa Joe. He was known for giving wise advice, and people loved listening to him. Ethan went up to him and said, Grandpa, I work really hard, but whenever I see someone doing better than me, I feel very sad. It feels like I will never be like them. Grandpa Joe smiled gently and said, Come to the oldest tree in the village tomorrow morning. You will find all your answers there. The next morning, Ethan went to the tree. Grandpa Joe was already waiting there. He looked at Ethan and said, Look around carefully. What do you see? Ethan looked around and said, Grandpa, there are so many trees here. Some are tall, some are short, some trees have lots of fruits, and some have none. Grandpa Joe smiled and said, Now imagine something. What if this apple tree compared itself to the coconut tree and said, Why am I so short? Or what if the coconut tree said, I wish I had sweet fruits like apples? Ethan laughed and said, That would sound really silly, Grandpa. Grandpa Joe nodded and asked, Then tell me something. How does this whole forest feel to you? Ethan looked around again and replied, It feels peaceful and beautiful. Everything seems just right. Grandpa Joe said softly, Life is exactly like this forest. Every tree here has its own special quality. In the same way, every person also has different strengths. The apple tree gives sweet fruit. The coconut tree grows tall and strong. They are different, but both are important. Then Grandpa Joe took Ethan near a small pond. There were many fish swimming in the water. A little farther away, a bird was flying in the sky. Grandpa Joe asked, Now imagine if the fish said, I wish I could fly like the bird. Would that make sense? Ethan shook his head and said, Not at all. Fish are made for swimming, and birds are made for flying. Grandpa Joe smiled and said gently, Then why do you want to be like someone else? You have your own path. You have your own strengths. Maybe you just haven't discovered them yet. Find your strengths and move forward with them. After hearing Grandpa Joe's words, something changed inside Ethan. He finally understood something important. Every person is different. Comparing yourself with others only brings pain. From that day on, Ethan stopped comparing himself with anyone. Instead, he started focusing on his own talents and his own work. Slowly, his confidence began to return. Life started to feel exciting again. A few years later, with hard work and dedication, Ethan built his own successful business. He became an inspiration for the entire village. Whenever someone asked him, "How did you become so successful?" Ethan would smile and say, "Never compare yourself with others. If a fish tries to fly, it will always feel like a failure. But if it focuses on swimming, it can own the whole ocean." Remember this: the sun and the moon do not shine at the same time, but both are important. Find your own path. Walk it in your own way. That is when real success begins. If you enjoyed this story, give it a like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you again with another story.